r/AskReddit by Redmond Dts. People who have worked as airport security, what have been some of the strangest things you had to confiscate? 20 years here. Honestly, I haven't had to confiscate anything unusual. But I've seen some really weird stuff in bags. The one that stands out to me is a bag from about 15 years ago. Huge duffel bag completely full with nothing but sex toys and one cordless drill. I don't think the cordless drill was for DIY. From around 2010. There was a BDSM fair in the city and people were flying out. One person packed their bag to the brim with sex toys and whips and paddles that had studs on them. Lots of metal stuff show the X-ray couldn't get a good image. So our entire bag check had to be performed where you have to check the linings of the bag. The person who had to check the bag was a female. The passenger was making very sexual remarks as she was checking through all the pockets and taking items out and trying to hit on her. The female supervisor had to come and take over and the police came by as a standby as the supervisor took over and did the bag check. Even the transportation security manager for the terminal stopped by to keep an eye. In the end only the barbed whips had to be put into his checked luggage and he stopped his remarks after learning it wasn't appropriate to be doing what he was doing. When I was 6 I set off all of the security alarms when my glow bear, a white teddy bear that glows different colors, went through the scanner. Flying home to UK from working a cruise ship casino out of New Orleans. In my carry-on I was bringing some casino chips, made from clay, in stacks of 20, 100 to a tray, 3 trays all stacked together. Also, I had bought a DVD player and was bringing it back in my hold luggage. This was 1998, and I had my step-up transformer, 110 volts US to 240 volts UK, in my carry-on. When they stopped me, took me to the X-ray screen and asked me what it was, round tubes of clay next to a copper-bound magnet with cables coming off it. I thought it was going to be rubber glove time. My grandparents used to travel to Spain in the winter due to health issues. We live in northern Scandinavia. Grandma would get stopped at the airport almost every year because she would have some random item in her purse. Scissors, knitting needles, metal nail files, a fork, random tools, tiny utility knives and so on. Mostly just normal stuff. She just forgets to check the bag before packing. It was turning into a family joke that grandma was such a badass criminal that she was always stopped by security. The woman is 100 pounds tiny sweet old lady with white curls, glasses and hearing aids. And then one year, at age 78, she was stopped because of what showed up on the screen of the X-ray machine. She was carrying a huge brass knuckle in her small handbag. That security at the airport was very confused would be to put it mildly. Apparently she hadn't used that purse in over 30 years, and she had forgotten that she had confiscated them from my uncle who was a young teenager back then. And my grandma as the responsible parent she was, had taken them and hid them. No one could remember how he had even gotten his hands on them back then, not even my uncle himself. I really wish I could have seen the look on security's faces as my 78-year-old grandma, dressed in her traveling clothes, pulled out a pair of huge brass knuckles from her small yellow handbag. Security didn't let her mail it back home as it was classified as a weapon unfortunately. It would have been the funniest family heirloom if she could have kept it. Grandma really earned the title of our most badass family member after that. I don't work for TSA, but I do work at an airport and frequently have to clear bags with CBP, Customs and Border Patrol. Once we had to clear a bag that was left at the carousel. CBP opened it up, revealing to several taped up plastic bags of a suspicious powder. The CBP officer took a knife to the bag, cut it open, and out spilled a bright yellow powder with a pungent odor. Lo and behold, turns out it was curry powder. It was all curry powder. That suitcase was nothing but curry. Not Sabat worked in a bag room for a major airline for a few years. Had a bag that was bleeding simply because red goo was eking out. So we got some gloves and opened it up. It was strawberry extract from Paris. In what was like a backpack type of bag. There was also blueberry extract and whipped cream. They were all in canisters that were not well protected or even cold. I don't know if it was relevant. We put the canisters in a trash bag, taped the F out to it, threw it back in the bag and sent it on its way. Years ago my wife worked for TSA and was doing a temporary stint in Rapid City, South Dakota. She had to confiscate Harvey Keitel's lotion because it was in a bottle more than 3.4 ounces. He was there filming National Treasure 2. Don't work airport security, but I do load and unload the planes. So, in no particular order, a list of interesting things I have seen over the years. A suitcase with 4 white t-shirts and the rest filled with packages of soft-shell tortillas. A small table with silver handcuffs and a T-shaped stick labeled jackhammer. Horseball semen. Body parts and organs. Whole bodies. Cremated remains shipped via USPS. Physical film for in theater movies, shipped under code name. You aren't fooling anyone calling it Raccoon City. Full set of antlers. A mattress that wouldn't fit into any of the planes that go to that destination. Assorted animals other than cats and dogs, like a pissed off wildcat, sugar gliders and cows. Speakers the size of regular luggage, not protected in any way and exposed to the elements. Like when I had to load a set in the rain. Nobody to blame but yourself. 5 LD7 pallets filled with boxes of Pokemon eggs or Gouda figures, plushes maybe, going to Italy. If I remember anything else, I'll edit later. Hey, former TSA here. A little technicality in the biz is TSA doesn't confiscate. Rather, if a passenger can't put the prohibited item in a checked bag, hand it off to someone not traveling, put it in a car, or mail it to themselves. They may voluntarily abandon the prohibited item with TSA silly wordplay, I know. That being said, I will share the strangest thing I saw during my tenure. A gentleman came through, early 60s and not the cleanest of fellows, and in his bag was an unidentifiable object. Of course this resulted in a bag search, and I pulled out a package. This package was cylindrical, longer than my forearm and more girthy, had a distinct mushroom head, and oh yeah, was heavily wrapped in a mix of duct tape and brown packaging tape. We reran it through the X-ray to get a better look, and this man had wrapped a good 2-inch layer of tape on his toy. Not sure if he was trying to disguise his toy, is so, A for effort and E- for execution, or if he merely wanted it ribbed for his pleasure. A pair of scissors. Not strange in itself. Confiscated from an on-duty pilot. He instead asked me to mind them for the day, outside security area. This is the guy that for work, sits in a securely locked room, with an axe on the wall behind his chair. But can't be trusted with his scissors. But rules are rules. We just laughed, and he came back for them at the end of his shift. Hope the flight wasn't delayed. Worked as TSA. Nitroglycerine hair gel. A gun in a children's backpack. Some guy hid his weed in plastic model of a pig. I pulled it out of his bag, held it in my hand and looked him in the eye and smiled. He poker faced me while I swabbed it, came out clean and put it back in the bag. I've scrolled past almost 100 comments, and only found one that's actually airport security. And that one I saw was a dildo. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. Have a nice evening.